has been the discussion so far? What has been the major issues that you've been discussing in?
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity, and I'm happy you try to sometimes get information to explain some of the concerns of the people they normally raise. I think it's good to have people like you who want to at least verify or get the information from the source, some understanding before, talking. Sometimes people actually don't follow us, still criticize us. It's okay. We are trying our best. So come back to your question, how the main issues about the Congress this year. Actually, the WMO, which is World Meteorological Organization, every 4 years meet like this to organize Congress where decisions are taken, policies are reviewed. Elections take place, and this is one of the Congresses. This is the 19th Congress of the WMO. And topical issue or discussion among many is early warning for all. There's coming from COP27, I think in COP26 through COP27, the whole world, UN and WMO, UN is encouraging WMO to help. That's, if I say WMO, I mean the Meteorological Organization, and then the member states of this organization to work towards providing early warning for all. It has been realized that early warning can save a lot because the warning will make people prepare, make people take necessary precautions to mitigate the effects of the weather and the climate change that is affecting all of us. So as a Met institution or meteorological organization and member states who are at the forefront of giving forecasts, giving information ahead of time of the event happening, the whole world as UN has tasked WMO, which is World Meteorological Organization, and its member countries to work towards providing early warning for all. Realize that when it comes to warnings, a lot more people don't have access to early warnings, especially in our area of the world, Africa and the less developed countries. We are technologically not advanced to the level that this early warning for all initiative is catching up. So really, this Congress is pushing the agenda of early warning for all. To be able to do this, there's a need for a lot of data that are collected, meteorological data that are collected, that has to go into the global telecommunication system. That's a global system, which scientists and the researchers use this data to do modeling, and then give this information, model products, back to the Met institutions, and then we use this model products, and then also this data feed into the satellites, and then use our ground data information that we collect with respect to our locality, and then our forecasters analyze all these products to be able to give the forecast. So if you don't have enough data into the global system, sometimes the resolution of the model product that you get is not very detailed and very sharp enough. We call it coarse. It's coarse. It's not very detailed. And so they are encouraging all the MES institutions, especially the less developed countries, to generate more data and feed it into the global system so that they will have a very good resolution model products, and then using the ground data information that they have with experience from their forecasters, will be able to give good forecasts and good early warning to save lives and property. So that's one major issue that is on the table being discussed here in Congress.
So, Director, you talking about the data collection and the reliability of these data that you guys, the scientists will collect and then feed it into the world system. What exactly is the difference between the early warning system and the weather forecast that you issue now? Because a layman out there would assume that once you issue the weather forecast, you are actually sending a signal out there that an event would occur. What exactly is the difference?
Okay, so as a meteorological institution, there are so many products that we issue now, so many services that we give out to the public. And so we have our normal daily weather forecast that we issue to advise or to give information to the public of how the weather is going to be. Again, we also issued warnings, weather warnings. And weather warnings comes in when you have noticed a significant weather event approaching. We call it a system. And so after doing your normal analysis and come out with your forecast, you can pick the information from your data in terms of the clouds, in terms of the wind direction, in terms of a cloud forming. Normally we say system is moving from east, Nigeria, Togo, Benin, Togo, then it's coming to Accra, or like that. It moves from the east to the west normally. That's how our system in our locality moves. And so either a satellite data, the satellite image will pick a system developing in somewhere in Nigeria, and then you track it. You look at the wind direction and the speed, and then look at the momentum of the system that has developed, and then you do your calculation and say, by this time, this system will hit Ghana. And then you look at the impact of that system, what is going to happen on the people. The tender, if it's coming with a thunderstorm, if it's coming with a strong wind, if the amount expected to fall in terms of rain is going to be heavy, you look at all these parameters and then issue warning. And so what's different from the normal forecast that you have issued, that is going, the weather is going to be either fair, calm, whatever that we will give you. But this is a specific event that a forecaster has noticed, and then do the analysis and come out with a warning.
So, Director, I mean the early warning system, rather. Sorry, I want to look at the weather forecast you issue, the warning, the impact-based weather warnings that you issue, and the early warning system that you are discussing about at the Congress. I mean, what is specifically the difference? I mean,
all right. So specifically with respect to the early warning system initiative that WMO is pushing, or UN is pushing WMO to use its member countries to get it to everybody. Sometimes, I can use an example to give this. Recently, in Democratic Republic of Congo, all right, there was a cyclone. That's
Cyclone Freddy or something.
Yes, that hit Democratic Republic of Congo and the environment, and that caused over 400 lives lost. All right, this phenomenon needs to be quickly identified by the global system, by the national Met, by the regional center. The WMO have an international, regional level, and then national level. When such a significant weather event is about happening, the system must capture this, analyze it, and give the information either at the regional level or the national level, for the national level to communicate to the bodies that matters, either the disaster management institutions, the government itself, so that they will put in place precautions. So WMO is putting in place systems to get this information of such nature communicated to the people that is going to affect, for them to take precautions. So I can link that one to the warnings that we give on our localities, as in Ghana, because Ghana, we have not experienced the tsunamis and such kind of serious natural disasters that I can use as an example. But at least the warning that we give mimics that warning that the international body is talking about. It could be a tsunami, it could be like the Freddy I just spoke about, but it could be a system that has developed even from, as I said, east coming to the west, or even localized system. But you look at the significance of the impact that that system is going to have on the people. And then there should be a system that has to issue a warning. So there's a system that WMO has put in place called CAP. That's forgotten the C, but it's alert protocol. All right. So we are getting to the point, and we have done the training in Ghana. We try to use this where we will need a buy-in of the media and the telcos, that when we identify such a situation, there's a global standard that we need to follow, and we come out with a warning. The warning will penetrate maybe the program you are doing as a media person. Then quickly it will cut in and get an announcement to the people, or it will have a pop-up on your phone, and then the people will get to know what is about happening and then take precautions. And so these are the things that the early warning for all is looking at, so that every significant weather event that is coming, the information will be, the issue will be identified quick enough, and the people informed early enough. It could even be a drought. The analysis can indicate that there's going to be a drought maybe in the country some months ahead. That information must be released to the people who matters to take the necessary precautions. It could be any disaster that we can think of, but in our case, we are looking at meteorological, weather, and climate related disasters. Yeah, so the bottom line is that there should be a mechanism that will make the people who are going to be affected and the people who have responsibility to take necessary precautions and measures to mitigate the effects of the weather and the climate events that's about happening, get the information in good time to be able to put in place necessary mechanisms to mitigate the effects on the people, to save life and property.
So, Director, you spoke about the CAP, the Common Alerting Protocol. I mean, that the UMW is trying to, implement, which will facilitate online public warnings, among other things. You also spoke about the fact that the discussion is, centered on developing and less developed countries where data collection is a challenge. What is the situation here in Ghana? What is our data collection protocol? What is making it so difficult for us to get our data to be able to feed into the system?
Yes, so data is so critical. It's a bedrock of our work. When I say data, I mean meteorological data. Talking about the temperatures, talking about the wind direction, wind speed, talking about humidity and stuff. Those are the climatological and meteorological data that we collect to do the analysis. You need some equipment to be able to collect this data. These equipments are very expensive, and they need to be collected every hour. Every hour, this data must be collected and then transmitted to our servers, quality control, and archive, and use this information to be able to do the forecast. And so the equipments are, one, as I said, expensive. You need human beings to man these stations. But now with technology, there are many automatic weather stations that are coming up, which we are now moving towards that direction. So since I joined Ghana Meteorological Agency about 7-8 years ago, every time that we get an opportunity to buy equipment, we try to buy the automatic type, which is self-coding and then self-transmitting, which will give you the data in real time and as devoid of human errors. And then you can use this information to do your analysis. But they are very expensive. Apart from this automatic weather stations that we need, we also need equipment like a radar. A radar is an equipment that helps you to have a view over the atmosphere by sitting in front of your computer and then be able to detect when there's a small peak of a system developing in some community or in some place, you quickly will identify it and then analyze it and track it to be able to give the forecast. We need this equipment. They are very, very expensive, really very expensive to buy and to maintain. And so efforts are being made to get us more of this equipment. We've not gotten enough, but comparatively, even in Ghana, we are considered to having a lot more data than most of the African countries. So the WMO has put in place a system, which is also a topical issue here at the Congress, to help countries to be able to acquire this equipment and maintain them to generate the data. And it's called Systematic Observation Financing Facility, SOFF, SOFF. And when they came out with this initiative with the funding from World Bank and other countries to support developing countries to acquire this equipment, it came up that Ghana is considered to be a lower middle income country, and therefore we don't qualify. And that has been my bigger challenge. In fact, really, when ROA1, that's the African Meteorological Group block, met in Ethiopia, that is unfair. The issue is about fixing data problem. And so if Africa don't have data into the global system and the WMO is bringing an initiative to fix that data problem, they should focus on helping all the nations to fix the data problem than using economic indicators to disqualify some countries. And I came to the Congress here and I've made that same statement strongly. And it has featured in the decisions that they are going to look at how they will consider less developed countries, lower middle income countries to probably also qualify. But it doesn't lie in their mouth alone as the WMO. They need to meet their funding agencies. And so Africa had a position that they should rather look at a global regional bloc, that we are supporting this region because we have noticed that this region don't have enough data into the global system. And so we are supporting them to use specific countries and use economic indicators to disqualify some of them. And so it's very critical and very expensive. And that's why the WMO has even come out with an initiative called SOFF to support some countries, which for now, Ghana appear not to be part of those countries. But we are looking, we are fighting, we are working hard to make sure to amend their decision and capture us. But today I can tell you that our Minister for Communication and Digitalization, Madam Oselawosu Akufo, was here. He addressed the Congress and had a meeting with the Secretary General of the WMO. And in that meeting, he made a strong point that if even the SOFF will not, the criteria will not allow countries like Ghana to benefit, the Secretary General should find another mechanism to support these other countries who don't fall within the SOFF bracket, so that all of us can get the necessary funding and support to be able to provide the data so much needed to run the models and to do the analysis and to be able to, have the information to support the early warning for all initiative that WMO is pushing to save life and property. And so at least we had the support of our minister to add his voice at this platform to push for some resources to support us getting the necessary equipment to gather the data that we so need to this climate change and climate variability.
My last two questions. Apart from this case that you made for Ghana, how many other cases have you made for Ghana?
In fact, I don't know other congresses that some Ghanaian delegations have attended. But for this Congress, Ghana has made a lot of interventions and presentations. In fact, this is a global stage. This is a world Congress. So we have all the countries over the world gathered here. So to have Ghana we've already made 4 interventions on the floor, and then have made 2 presentations, and then have our minister to address the Congress. And so I can count of about 6 appearances so far, Today, I have another intervention that I'm going to make around 3 p.m. So, as I said, I've spoken about the soft that doesn't cover Ghana, and that they should look at it and broaden the scope. I've also spoke about the need for develop meteorological institutions to partner less developed meteorological and hydrological institutions, and then have a bilateral relationship and build their capacity. In fact, Ghana have started something like that with Denmark Meteorological Institute. We've actually signed a strategic sector cooperation agreement with Denmark, Danish government, which is linking Ghana Meteorological Agency to with the Denmark Meteorological Institute. In fact, a mission from Denmark Meteorological Institute have come to Ghana. A mission from Ghana led it, went to Denmark. We have had engagement. We signed an MOU. We've even recruited an advisor who is coming to facilitate the cooperation. And using experience from this, we just started. We're about to draw a program to see area that we are going to build capacity. We already identify one important area that we need a capacity that the Denmark Meteorological Institute can help us to. So I coming from this background, I was proposing to WMO that if we get the development institutions to partner less development institutions on bilateral level and build corporations and capacity, countries that will respond to this call, WMO should recognize it and use it as their contribution to WMO. And that will encourage more development institutions to partner less development institutions to build their capacity and exchange experiences. And that's the second point I made. And I came with my other staff who has also made series of interventions on the floor. Again, we had opportunity. WMO is having another initiative that has to do with looking at the status of stream flow, river flows, and be able to forecast a month, 2 months, 3 months time, how the flows are going to be. Call it Hydro SOS initiative. And we have an in-session training in Ghana in collaboration with UK Center for Ecology and Hydrology, partner with WMO. And we experience on the floor, a full presentation that we presented, how far we have come and what is required to move forward, and a call for WMO to support Ghana in collaboration with UK CH to be able to implement this initiative in Ghana and beyond. Again, there's a project called Water Flood and Drought Management, which covers the Volta Basin, and it covers countries like Ghana, Burkina, Togo, Ivory Coast, and the 6 countries that the Volta Basin passes. And the project already ongoing. And in Ghana, you have Water Resources Commission, Ghana Meteorological Agency, and the Hydrological Authority involved in this project. And we also were given opportunity as Ghana to do a presentation on it to share our experiences, how far we have come, where we are now, and then where we want to go and what is required. And as part of that project, we are looking at running models in Ghana. I spoke about global models. You can downscale some of these models in your country, run it, add your ground data into it, and get better resolution. And we want to do this for our, call it numeric, WAF modeling, and then do WAF hydro to be able to model the data as we are looking at the global one, downscale it and do it in Ghana, and then let it feed into our forecast. And so these are the things that we are doing that we have shared with the WMO. Yeah, so we have been very active, very, very active. And as I said, our minister was here today and had a very wonderful presentation at the Congress. And between here, we lead Ghana by 2 hours. So between 11 and 11:30, we were in the meeting with Secretary General and his team, also still pushing for Ghana and Africa.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Director. I'm so grateful, but I must say that your staff have been very resourceful, and I've been working closely with quite a number of them, Joshua, Nana, and Felicia. In fact, they've been very, very close, resourceful. I think recently I worked on a story about the farmers, how farmers are receiving weather information, and based on the training they had with some of the farmers, their feedback was very great. I mean, especially farmers in Nigeria. And through the training that Joshua and the rest had with them, there was a time I organized online Zoom training for them. Some of them have created a WhatsApp platform where they also educate the farmers on their various communities. So when you go there, in fact, it's very great. It's very great to see the farmers giving a feedback. But what has been your response to positive and negative feedback from the public, those who think you are not actually doing? Sometimes people say that you wait when you see the weather changing, then you issue an alert. I saw some of the posts and I laugh because the moment they see you sharing, they think that was the moment you issued the alert.
Exactly. Thank you very much. You see, as I said from the beginning, some are people who are not even following you. They form their opinions already. Well, the only thing we have to do is to work hard and continue improving on our forecast and the accuracy level. And I mean, the work will speak for itself. Anybody who follow us of late will agree with me that there has been a lot of improvement. In fact, I've been in a couple of meetings that somebody will tell you, as soon as you introduce yourself and they know you are the Director General of Ghana Meteorological Agency, somebody asked me, what has changed? Because now when you do the forecast, it's very accurate. It wasn't like that from before. I said, well, one, now we are having look at Joshua and Nana you spoke about, very young, very brilliant scientists, meteorologists who are on the field, on the decks, doing the analysis. And then technology is also helping us, giving access to more global products. And then as I was telling you, using automatic weather stations and data, they are all helping us to improve our service delivery. And so we don't get too much worried with the perception of, well, you wait last minute. We saw all of us have seen the weather has changed, then you are issuing a forecast. But don't forget, I told you something, that sometimes we analyze the forecast, the system moving, especially the warnings from the east to the west. You can identify the system coming from Nigeria. Even it has already hit Accra. It has not hit Sorpon. It has not hit Cape Coast. And it has not hit Accra. And the system is moving. So you may say, as you said, it may even be wrong. Maybe the time the person received the forecast, that wasn't the time the forecast was issued. But even it was late in Accra, it's not late for somebody in Cape Coast.
Yeah.
So that will prevent us from still issuing the forecast. And so we were still working hard. Just last year, getting to close end of last year, we got a clearance to employ as much as 250 staff into our fold. And we managed to get a lot more scientists. In fact, out of the number, about 130 were having background in science. I mean, physics, mathematics, meteorologists, or chemistry, formation technology and stuff. They have just joined. If you build their capacity and all of them start working and showing their skills, people will get to know. And then with this human resource, because Ghana is not easy to get clearance to recruit, to employ, but at least government has been magnanimous enough for us to give us that clearance to recruit such a number of people, proud to IMF and their conditionality, okay? So I'm happy I've got this new young, brilliant girls and boys into the organization. Now we work towards also improving on our equipment and then training. One major thing that we spoke to the Secretary General today, when Madam, the Minister, met him, was capacity building. We're even advocating that they should declare one of our universities, especially KNUST, or one of universities here in Ghana, as one of the WMO centers of excellence to be able to train their people here. Because we've noticed that if our scholarship to go and train our people for masters or build their capacity, you can't send so much because of the cost. If you have the center here in Ghana, Ghana will benefit more, and then the sub-region will also benefit. So these are the things that we are working towards to improve the Met institution and the fight against the climate change and the variability and its effect on us. It's a process, it's not an event. And we believe gradually, together, we will get there. With your interest and following us and trying to even explain some of the things to your friends, if you get more of you, doing same, gradually we will change that perception. It's a forecast. You can miss it at some point, and that's global. It's only Ghana, but accuracy rate has increased. This year, we were bold to go to the out there to tell the public that we were about 86% accuracy of our forecast that we've issued, and challenge any researcher who follow us to prove us wrong. And that's a marvelous achievement to have about 86% accuracy level. And we believe we can move it. And so the work will change the perception with time.
Yeah. So thank you so much. I hope I'm wishing